Hi, everybody. We are so close to the end of the semester, so I wanted to take just a couple minutes and talk to you about the final consulting report. So even though we're at the end of the semester in terms of new content, you have two deliverables that are left. One is the final exam, which is going to look and be structured exactly like the midterm, but it's only going to focus on content from the second half of the semester. And the final consulting report. So this for me is really important because this class is all about applying what you've learned, right? There's no point in understanding different forecasting methods and models or looking at different approaches to project management or design thinking. All of those things don't really matter if you can't actually take that information and apply it to an organization. So that's the whole point here is I want to see you really flex those skills and the things that you've learned this semester to an organization. So a couple of notes about the organization you pick. This should absolutely be a place that you've worked or a place that a family member or a friend works. Please don't pick a Fortune 500 company like Apple because it's going to be really difficult for you to go through and analyze and give suggestions about where they can improve because they're already, when it comes to operational excellence, they're already there. They're doing a great job. But even companies like Walmart and Target, they're huge, but for those of you, and I know in the discussions, a number of you have either worked there or have worked there, that's a great opportunity because you have that firsthand experience to say, this is something that's really annoying or frustrating, unloading the trucks or checking out in the front, when you're cashing customers out and there's a problem or a barcode is missing and having to call a manager, right? You all had so many great examples of these kind of issues that pop up periodically in your work. Use those in this consulting report. So this is structured as though you're a consultant and this is practical, right? You might get an internship or a job right out of college where you're working for a firm and your job is to go in and provide support to smaller businesses. And what you would do is you'd basically go through, you'd meet with managers, you'd meet with the frontline team members doing the work, you'd observe processes, and then you'd put a report together like this. And so what I want you to do for this report is pick 6 of the topics that we've covered throughout the semester. They can be whatever you choose. And usually there are some that based on the company you choose are going to rise to the surface and make more sense than others. So pick 6 topics. And for each one of those topics, I want you to have 2 sections, what they're currently doing and what you'd suggest they do in the future. And be as specific as possible with each of these sections. I include this in the Blackboard discussion, but let's take, for example, forecasting. You might be, looking at the store that you work at, and maybe you're delivering pizzas, and you want to know about forecasting, and you ask maybe a manager to say, "Hey, what do you guys do, to forecast demand?" And they say, "We don't really do anything. We just kind of know what to expect." That's great. Put that as an example and say, I spoke to so-and-so and they indicated that they don't really do forecasting. And then when your suggestion comes to what can they do in the future, this is where you can really pull together something. And in this case, if we're talking about maybe pizza delivery or some other kind of delivery service, they should definitely be looking at seasonality, right? Because weekends are probably going to be busier, nighttime, certain times of the day. They might want to look at historical data and kind of look at seasonality to see when those busy times are. So again, go through each one of those topics that you pick and then, state again in the current state what they are doing, give some very specific examples, and then in the future state, make some recommendations based on what you've learned in the class. And also for those of you that are picking companies where you currently work, it sounds like there are no shortage of opportunities for improvement. So take this time and pull that together. Last semester when I did this, I had a number of students that ended up presenting their consulting reports to their bosses or managers. And this is a great way for you to say, hey, I had to do this for class. Here are some of my thoughts on some of the things that we might be able to improve. One, it's probably going to bode well for you and your manager should be impressed. But secondly, you might be able to address some of those things, some of those bottlenecks or frustrations that you're dealing with on a regular basis. So this is your opportunity to kind of showcase the work that you can do and make some suggestions for improvement. I am always here to provide you support and feedback. If you'd like, feel free to send me a draft and I'll look it over and I'll give you some pointers and make some suggestions. And you are more than welcome to submit this consulting report as early as you'd like. Again, I'm always here for help and don't hesitate to shoot me an email.